Yeah, this is this is the past 2 years cartooning, so you can see how many cartoons I actually physically do in 2 years. It's quite a few. This goes from 2005, 2006, and 2007, and this is just a small amount of the cartoons that I do. Having to do so many a week, I usually end up with quite a bit of cartoons. What it does is it spurs a dialogue. It starts to create a dialogue between journalist and public. But people need to remember that it's a cartoon. It's supposed to be taken tongue-in-cheek. And it's not always a skewering. Sometimes it's just a little nudge or a little pinch. You're not always, just trying to rake somebody over the coals. Sometimes you're just trying to gently nudge them and remind them that, hey, maybe you might not want to do that. Or maybe that's a bad idea. So, it's just a gentle nudge, with humor. And that's really what you try to do with an editorial cartoon. The reason why the world needs political cartoonists is political cartoonists tend to think of themselves as a canary in the coal mine. When a major story breaks, we're usually the ones that get to the story first. We tend to be able to distill things down into one image without having to write 1,000 words about it. I actually have always kind of editorialize things through drawing. Even when I was a little kid, my mom would, she would always sit me down in the middle of the floor with crayons and just let me go crazy, and I always would. I mean, drawing on the walls, drawing on the headboard, just mischievous, and that's really an editorial cartoonist. We are kind of mischievous. I've actually gone to political cartooning and come back to it several times, moved away from it and come back to it, maybe twice. I cartooned when I was little, and then I went into college thinking I was going to become an architect and shifted from architecture into fine arts. And I was getting some recognition, but nothing near the kind of feedback I would get when I would do a cartoon that would really rile people up. See, that you wouldn't get, 10, 20 emails or letters from a painting. But if you do a cartoon that's on a subject that someone is, passionate about, then then you've touched somebody, you've reached somebody. I found that with cartooning, I could touch more people than I could with my fine art. My grandmother was also a huge influence. She had this long bookshelf. A lot of them mixed in there were, for some reason, I don't know why she kept them, collections of editorial cartoons. And I'll never forget this copy she had of Up Front by Bill Malden. And it stuck with me. The fact that I would see those there, and every Christmas or whatever I would go through, I just love these images because they were stark black and white, and they were of wartime, and the heavy use of black and white. I still try to incorporate that into my cartoons now. Heavy black and white, and I know it's from seeing this when I was little. I mean, I'm talking little, like 5 years old, looking through these beautiful drawings. So. Well, basically, the process starts out with a sketch initially. In terms of this drawing, I knew it was a mall scene, and so I knew it was going to be pretty much an open space. So I pretty much sketch it out quickly, get it down as quick as I can. This one was pretty quick, and I didn't really have to do a number of thumbnails. I knew it was going to be an open space. I knew I wanted a number of Scrooges all over the mall. These two characters are saying, I don't know about you, but I've got a bad feeling about this holiday shopping season. Well, one of the things I try to do is take the number of words and half them. Well, I tried to do that. So I took out the whole I don't know about you part. If you can notice here, I didn't even really do it until the last minute. I changed my mind at the last minute and changed it at the last second to just say, I've got a bad feeling about this holiday shopping season. One of the things I did was I took one of the Scrooges and blew it way up in the foreground. And what that does is it gives you a nice sense of this deep space by instead of having all your figures be relatively the same size, by varying that and it pushes the space way back. So I've got this large central figure, you immediately recognize that it's Scrooge, and then smaller ones in the background, which really help to push the space back. And that, again, that also helps to get the viewer involved in the drawing because it literally pulls the viewer's eye into the picture. To be a successful editorial cartoonist, I believe you have to spend a lot of time alone. Generally, it's just being up on all the news that's going around, knowing your environment, knowing your town, knowing nationally what's going on. I read a lot. I subscribe to many magazines and several newspapers. I get a lot of my news off the internet. Sometimes it's hard to cut yourself off from it because you got so much news coming in and so much information you have to distill down into this cartoon, this cartoon, this cartoon, this cartoon. It becomes difficult sometimes. Being an isolationist, I think, helps me because it allows me to focus my thoughts, distill everything down to that pinpoint where I want to be, what I want to say. When I hear somebody say, you know, I cut your cartoon out and it's up on my refrigerator. If someone feels that strongly about a drawing you've done, that's like a badge of honor for an editorial cartoonist.